Developing and deploying a video streaming application with AWS DevOps tools, a step-by-step guide. This podcast is brought to you by Business Compass LLC. We are an Amazon Web Services advanced consulting partner. We build and migrate workloads to Amazon Cloud. Our website is businesscompassllc.com. Our phone number is 973-638-2228. Our email address is contact@businesscompassllc.us. Introduction. In today's digital era, video streaming applications have become increasingly popular. Building and deploying such an application requires a robust and scalable infrastructure. This podcast will take you through a step-by-step process of building and deploying a video streaming application using AWS DevOps tools. Project Overview and Architecture. Project Overview. The project aims to build a scalable and reliable video streaming application using AWS DevOps tools. We will leverage AWS Code Commit for source code management, Code Build for building and testing, AWS Systems Manager for storing secrets, Docker Hub for managing Docker images, S3 for storing artifacts, EC2 for deployment, Code Deploy for application deployment, and Code Pipeline for automating the C/CD pipeline. Architecture. Our architecture will include the following components: Source Code Management, AWS Code Commit. Build and Test, AWS Code Build. Secrets Management, AWS Systems Manager. Docker Image Management, Docker Hub. Artifact Storage, Amazon S3. Deployment, Amazon EC2 and AWS Code Deploy. C/CD Pipeline, AWS Code Pipeline. Monitoring, CloudWatch and Code Pipeline. Setting up Code Commit for source code management. Create a Code Commit repository. Navigate to the AWS Management Console. Go to Code Commit and create a new repository. Clone the repository to your local machine and add your project's source code. Push code to Code Commit. Add, commit, and push your code to the Code Commit repository. Configuring Code Build for building and testing. Create a build project. Navigate to the Code Build console. Create a new build project and configure the source as your Code Commit repository. Define the build specifications in a buildspec.yml file. Build spec configuration. Add the necessary commands for building and testing your application in the buildspec.yml file. Version 0.2. Phases. Install. Commands. Echo installing dependencies. Pip install r requirements.txt. Build. Commands. Echo building the application. Docker build T video streaming app. Post_build. Commands. Echo build completed on date. Storing secrets with AWS Systems Manager. Store secrets. Navigate to the AWS Systems Manager console. Store your application secrets, such as database credentials and API keys, using the parameter store. Access secrets in Code Build. Update your buildspec.yml to retrieve secrets from AWS Systems Manager. Env. Secrets Manager. DB_password. My database password. Managing Docker images with Docker Hub. Docker Hub configuration. Create a repository on Docker Hub for your Docker images. Update your buildspec.yml to tag and push the Docker image to Docker Hub. Post_build. Commands. Echo pushing the Docker image. Docker tag video streaming app latest your _Docker Hub _username/video streaming app latest. Docker push your _Docker Hub _username/video streaming app latest. Building and storing artifacts with S3. Create an S3 bucket. Navigate to the S3 console and create a bucket to store build artifacts. Update build spec. Update the buildspec.yml to store build artifacts in the S3 bucket. Artifacts. Files. Name. Video streaming artifacts. Creating and configuring EC2 instance for deployment. Launch an EC2 instance. Navigate to the EC2 console and launch an instance. Configure security groups, allowing necessary ports, for example, HTTP, HTTPS. Install Docker. Connect to your EC2 instance and install Docker. Sudo yum update y. Sudo Amazon Linux Extras install Docker. Sudo service Docker start. Sudo usermod ag docker ec2 user. Setting up Code Deploy for application deployment. Create a Code Deploy application. Navigate to the Code Deploy console and create a new application. Define a deployment group and link it to your EC2 instance. App spec file. Create an appspec.yml file to define the deployment instructions. Version 0.0. OS, Linux. Files. Source. Destination, /home/ec2 user/video streaming app. Hooks, after install. Location, script/start_server.sh. Timeout, 300. Runus, ec2 user. Creating and automating the C/CD pipeline with Code Pipeline. Create a pipeline. Navigate to the Code Pipeline console and create a new pipeline. Add stages for source, build, and deploy. Pipeline configuration. Configure the pipeline to use code commit as the source, code build for the build stage, and code deploy for the deployment stage. Monitoring builds and deployments. CloudWatch integration. Monitor build and deployment logs using AWS CloudWatch. Set up CloudWatch alarms for build failures or deployment issues. Pipeline monitoring. Monitor the status of your pipeline stages in the Code Pipeline console. Viewing the deployed video streaming application. Access the application. Navigate to the public IP or DNS of your EC2 instance. Ensure that your video streaming application is running correctly. Conclusion. Following these steps, you have successfully built and deployed a video streaming application using AWS DevOps tools. This architecture ensures a scalable, reliable, and automated deployment process, leveraging the power of AWS services. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Please share this podcast, visit our website and follow our social media links.